I have 2 children, Emily, 30 female, and Hayes, 26 male, with my ex-wife. She left me a few months after Hayes was born and got back together with her high school ex, Sam. Sam and my ex married 7 months later. Emily has always adored Sam. I, however, hate the guy. For years he would work on getting under my skin, saying I wasn't a good enough dad to my daughter because I wasn't enough, and she considered him dad too. He would tell me every single time she had called him Daddy Sam or Dad Sam. When I told him he was being childish, he'd tell me in return that he knew it cut me up inside to have to share her affection as a dad. He told me one day he would be walking her down the aisle, and maybe she'd even want him to do it alone and wouldn't want me anywhere near them for that. Despite all this, Sam could never come between me and Emily, and we've always been very close. Sam never cared for Hayes as much. I think Hayes being gay plays a large part in Sam not caring for him as much as he does Emily. Sometimes I've had to restrain myself from exploding in front of the kids when Sam would taunt me. I knew he'd love to get me out of my kid's life. Last year, Sam was diagnosed with a serious disease. He's now in a wheelchair and has lost his mobility, and his speech has suffered greatly. Emily's getting married in a few months and wanted us both to bring her down the aisle. A week ago, she came to my house and told me she wanted to pay a special tribute to Sam, and she wanted my help to do it, both finance and planning. I told her I would not help her with that. She was upset, said Hayes refused to help her as well. She told me Sam means a lot to her, and she would have thought I'd be glad she had 2 amazing father figures. I told her that Sam and I did not have a positive relationship, and there was no way I would ever spend my money or time doing something nice for the man. I told her he had treated me poorly over the years, and I accepted that she loved him, but he was not worthy of my money or that effort. She asked me if I would do it for her. I told her I could not. She said okay. Emily's fiance called me up after this. He said whatever petty issues between Sam and me, could I not do something for my daughter when she's going to lose one of her most special people? He said I was breaking Emily's heart because she didn't want to be caught between us, that it's clear I'm enjoying Sam suffer as he is, proven by my actions, and I'm not being a good dad to Emily. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Ask Emily why it was okay for Sam to dismiss Hayes because he was gay, yet show her so much attention because she wasn't. Her relationship with Sam is her own. She can't expect others to forget or ignore their own mistreatment by Sam just to make her happy. She's an adult. She should know better. Yeah, expecting OP to foot the bill for someone so horrible to both him and his son is terrible. Plus, why do they need extra money for this tribute? Are they building him a shrine or something? And if fiance feels so strongly about it, he's more than free to cough up the cash necessary to carry out his soon-to-be wife's plan. The money will probably be used towards making the venue wheelchair-friendly. Some people book wedding venues 1 to 2 years in advance. If this was a sudden change in his ability to walk and not a slow decline in ability, it's very possible that a venue was booked before there was any thought of accessibility being an issue. Emily is 30 years old. This isn't a young child whose feelings you need to protect. This is a grown woman who's perfectly capable of honoring her stepfather by herself within her budget. It's not up to you to fund her choices. My response would be, I'm not ready to make nice. Sam's been an epic idiot. There's no way I'd front money or effort to help someone who's treated me like that. You may nope yourself right out of the wedding, but only because you have the self-worth not to allow yourself to be a doormat. The problem lies with Sam, not you, and he needs to make it right. Unable to do that, Emily and her fiancé need to understand that one of Emily's most special people is the idiot who caused the current situation. I just want to know why your wife left and why no one has a problem with this dude calling you a crappy dad. I feel like there's a lot more going on here. I was never fully clear on why she left. We were both young when we got married and had kids, and our marriage wasn't that long. Sometimes I've wondered if Sam was always on her mind, and maybe that led to it. I've always looked at Sam's attitude toward me as jealousy. He has no kids of his own, biologically, and the woman he's always loved has two with someone else. Why hasn't Emily asked her mom for help with the finance and planning of this tribute? Where the heck is the mom in all of this? I mean, she left a few months after Hayes was born, and he acted weird towards him, but not Emily. Is it possible Emily is Sam's daughter? That he treated Hayes so badly because he's your son? OP, DNA test the kids. My parents offered me and my siblings all the same deal. We could have $25,000 as soon as we graduated from high school, or we could wait until we graduated from college, got a trade, or were self-supporting for the next 4 years and get $125,000. My two oldest brothers went to college and used the money to start their lives. My oldest brother, who didn't take that option, took his $25,000 and moved to Southeast Asia. He lived pretty well for 3 years. Then he ran out of money and had to come home. My parents welcomed him home and let him live there while he found a job. He ended up going to university and is working on getting his teaching degree. I just graduated, and I'm using the money to pay a house down payment. My brother approached me and asked if I would share some of my money so we could buy a car. My parents are letting him live at home and paying for his college, but they aren't giving him any spending money or anything. I said it wasn't fair that I should have to share the money I was getting from our parents, since I had fulfilled my ends of the bargain. He said I was an idiot for not going out and seeing the world. I'm not sure how much he saw, stuck in a country in Southeast Asia during the global issue. He thinks I'm being a greedy idiot for not sharing my money. I think he should have done something with the last 3 years besides seeing the world. He said he could have made it 4 years if it wasn't for the global issue. I said it wouldn't have mattered since he had already taken the money. Our mom heard us arguing and told him to leave me alone. My money was earned with hard work, and I didn't have to share. I talked to my other brothers, and they both said he had asked them for money too, but they told him to get bent. I know it doesn't seem fair, but he chose to party with his money. It's not my fault that the world went nuts for a couple of years. Am I the idiot? Au contraire, my misguided brother Reno. I believe it is you who's the unintelligent bottom, not the idiot. And yes, it is completely fair. Don't waste energy on feeling like it's not fair to him. He had the exact same offer as the rest of you and made his choice. You enjoy your hard-earned funds and buy that house and furnish it to the nines. Your brother's being greedy and entitled, but frankly, your parents were very irresponsible to offer this option to an 18-year-old. Sure, it worked fine for 3 out of 4 children, but it's the ones who don't have things figured out that need parenting the most, and your parents dropped the ball. Promising a big payout for successfully adulting for 4 years is a great way to make sure your kids learn responsibility. Giving them the option of a chunk of cash the minute they're adults is just setting the less mature one up for failure. Oh, so gifting someone $25K is setting them up for failure? Man, I sure wish someone would do that to me. In all honesty now, it seems OP comes from a very privileged family, having enough money to gift 4 kids $125K outright, paying for their degrees. They seem very comfortable. OP's brother was never going to fail unless he became an addict or something similar, and that would have been a whole different kind of failure. It seems OP's parents wanted to teach the kids the worth of hard work and money, but still set them up with a comfortable start, regardless. That's not a bad thing. I, female, nearly adult, have been living with my grandma for as long as I can remember. A month ago, I moved in with my aunt. I have bipolar and depression, and I take meds daily. My aunt is completely against medication, saying it's the cause of addiction. A week ago, my nurse dropped off my medication, giving me 6 months' worth. My aunt was upset, asking why I needed all those meds. I explained to her why, and she just scoffed. I thought that was the end of it. I put my medication in my cupboard, hoping to sort it out once my aunt wasn't in the house. Yesterday, I was hanging out at a friend's house. When I got home, my room was completely messed up, and my medication was gone. I looked everywhere, but it didn't turn up. I asked my aunt, and she said she threw it away. I was furious and told her to get it back. She said no, and that meds are the cause of evil. You would be swallowing your life away, especially with 6 months' worth of medication. I was so upset. I yelled at her, telling her not to touch my stuff and that she had no right to throw away my medication. She started calling me a weirdo in the making and told me I'm disrespectful. I only take 2 tablets a day, and I've never disrespected her until that moment. I just left and packed a bag to stay at a friend's house because I didn't feel safe with my aunt anymore. Most of my family's been backing her up, telling me I overreacted and that I could just get new medication. But my medication that she threw away had no replacement because I got it for free, and I'd have to pay hundreds just to get a replacement. My friend is the only one supporting me right now. I don't know what to do. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. It's illegal to tamper with someone else's medications. Since it's so much, you can file a police report, and then with that, you can get it replaced. I'd also consider pressing charges because that's theft. And as a nurse for years, I know it's dangerous for someone with bipolar and depression to go cold turkey off their medication. OMG, you have bipolar disorder and she threw out your medication? That should be a crime. Do not return to your aunts. Call your nurse, talk to your school, or call social services. You deserve so much better than this. If it were me, I'd also immediately file a police report and book an emergency appointment with my doctor. What planet is she from? Some people just have no clue about medication and can't understand the difference between a doctor-written prescription and buying crack from someone behind the 7-Eleven. Tell the family members who say it's no big deal you can't afford to replace the medication. Ask if they want to pay for it. The family's entirely in the wrong for supporting her. I, nearly adult male, was recently over my aunt and uncle's house. They have 2 kids, my little cousins, Willow tween and Miles, young grammar school age. My aunt recently bought a Switch for the cousins, and they've been getting obsessed with Mario Kart. Almost immediately, the cousins challenged me, my parents, and my sister to a race. I had to help my uncle with his car. I work part-time at an auto shop and have promised to take a look at it, but I said I'd return to the race once I finished. About 30 minutes later, I came back into the house, and my cousins met me at the door to get me to race. It was adorable. We sat down and played, and I smoked them. I'm not particularly good at Mario Kart, but I've been playing for a while, and they just started playing 2 weeks ago. The cousins demanded a rematch, and I obliged, and then I smoked them again, and a rematch. After several rounds and not a single victory later, Willow was in awe of my epic skills, but Miles started crying. My aunt, having heard Miles crying, came into the room, and I explained the situation. My aunt confronted Miles, while my mom took me aside. Apparently, there had been an unspoken agreement between my mom, aunt, and sister to go easy on my cousins and let them win. My mom called me a jerk for being so mean to my cousins. I told her that I didn't know, and she called me an idiot because apparently it's common knowledge to go easy on kids. I knew of no such common knowledge, but maybe I'm just a moron, as my mom said. Am I the idiot? No idiots here, but this is sort of a read the room thing. Kids don't need to win every time, and it is good for them to learn to lose gracefully. However, if you're competing against elementary school age kids, There's a point to notice that the kids are getting frustrated and figure out how to make the game fun again. Instead of seeing who can win the third time, say, let's try to get all the power-ups, or let's try Goofy Track X, or something. It's not about intentionally throwing the game, but finding ways to meet kids at their ability level and have fun with them. Personal example, I was 15 before I realized that when I was in elementary school playing nickel ante poker with my uncles and cousins, I actually sucked at poker. They kept me in the game by sliding coins to me every time they got up from the table to get a drink or whatever, telling me to play a few rounds for them. I got to hang out with the men, and they got to have fun teasing me at the poker table and teaching me swear words. There are ways to include kids without stooping to outright throwing the game or humiliating them because they're less skilled. It's a little weird for someone on the precipice of adulthood to just absolutely whip a young child at a game over and over without having the thought, maybe I'll let this little person who's been on the planet for a short time win one. But maybe that hasn't been your modeling. I wouldn't feel too bad about it, but in the future, I might not just absolutely relentlessly cream a 6-year-old over and over. Yes, a legitimate argument should be made against overpraising a child. There's also a legitimate argument to be made about letting a little child have a mastery experience, especially when they've tried repeatedly. I think you are the idiot. Does it count as winning with skill if it's over a young child? Like, do you even see the challenge in it? Do you need to be told that playing a kid is an exchange of knowledge and you're kind of teaching them? Show off skills, sure. Show who's boss. But is it even fun for you to have such obvious wins? Is it odd that at your age, you need to be told to chill against a toddler? I, 44 male, have been married to my wife, 34, for 4 years, and we have a son, toddler, and a daughter, younger toddler. I now work in tech 4 days from home and go to the office 1 day, while my wife doesn't currently work and is a stay-at-home mom. My work-from-home career only started when the global issue began, so before we got married and when we were dating and cohabiting, I never did much major grocery shopping, apart from picking small stuff up on the way home, as my wife worked fewer hours than me and did it instead. When I started working from home, I noticed that my wife would take a very long time to do the weekly shopping. I'm talking a good hour and a half just to buy the weekly groceries. The store's only 5 minutes away, and she usually goes just before lunch, so it's not too busy. I think that she's running into friends from her mom's groups and chatting and losing track of time. She denies this, of course, but every time she goes out shopping and comes back, she always has some new gossip about what's happening in the neighborhood. To be clear, I'm not upset or angry if she takes this long to do the shopping. It's good for her if she can meet friends while shopping. But she keeps telling me that she takes this long because she's checking which stuff is on sale, which stuff can be skipped for now, which stuff can be stored, etc. Yesterday was the day my wife usually goes on the weekly shop, but I told her that I'd handle it. I went and did the shop and came back in half the time she normally takes. When she was helping me unpack the groceries, she wasn't too happy with what I bought. I told her that I did it in half the time she usually does, and that I still couldn't see why she took so long to do it. She then told me that I did a poor job and didn't buy what she wanted, and that I was trying to undermine her. I said I did the shopping for her and the family. She said that I was an idiot. Why do you actually need to prove this point? How neurotic are you? Yeah, my husband can do the weekly shopping in 15 minutes. He doesn't buy half of what we need and ends up paying twice as much anyway because he pays no attention to what's on sale. The difference is that he doesn't insist he's better or faster, fully acknowledges he sucks at shopping because he's impatient, and is grateful that I do it. Again, why does this point need to be proven like you're Einstein on the verge of the greatest discovery? Let her be. Jesus. I seriously don't understand what he's trying to prove. I did the shopping in half the time, but worse, and got all the wrong things. Like a good job. You want a medal for screwing up faster? Why is this guy competing in his own head for the most incompetent? I got some weird misogyny vibe. Yes, the little woman can have her me time of shopping and gossip. I feel bad for his wife. It sounds like he thinks she's lazy. Totally toxic. Even if she was, talking to another adult while you're stuck at home with babies can really help your mental health. Maybe that's what she's doing. Or maybe it really does take her that long to figure out the groceries. Or maybe she spends 20 minutes crying in her car before entering the store because she's married to this guy.